Since technology has advanced and the society is becoming more environmentally conscious, automobile manufacturers are eschewing the extra cylinders and getting more and more power from the traditional 6-cylinder engine. Here are the top 5 6-cylinder engines available right now. Modern engines are continuously being shrunk in order to fulfill ever increasing fuel economy rules, even in cars like pickup trucks and high performance sports cars that have historically had huge displacement engines. These engines use technology like turbocharging and direct injection to increase power levels in order to somewhat compensate for the smaller displacement and occasionally more than fully compensate. Number 5. Alfa Romeo Busso V6. The iconic Alfa V6 is featured here even though it has existed since 1979 in one way or another. Production didn't stop until 2005. This is also because of so many of you highlighted. It's not only the best sounding V6 engine ever produced, it may even be the best looking. It later increased to 3.2 liters and was used to power the GT as well as vehicles like the 147 and 156 GTA. Giuseppe Busso, the car's designer who passed away just a few days after the Alfa Romeo's Arese factory began producing its V6, is often fondly referred to as Busso because of this. Alfa did go on to develop a V6 for the 159 and Brera based on GM technology, but it could not match the appeal of the old Busso. We can only hope that the Ferrari-inspired V6 in the next Giulia QV pays better homage to the original Busso 6. The re-owned engineer behind this engine, Giuseppe Busso, began his career as a human computer at Fiat. Yes, given that digital computers were still in their infancy at the time, the term was employed to designate a profession. After working on cutting-edge race engines for Alfa Romeo's research and development division, Servizi Studi Speciali, for roughly 2 years, his enormous potential was recognized. The industry's attention soon switched to creating war machines as a result of Italy's participation in the Second World War, and the engineer finally lost his position. He was appointed technical director at a Ferrari a year after the terrifying World War came to an end due to another great engineer by the name of Gioacchino Colombo. According to the legend, Colombo was approached by Enzo Ferrari and given the position of technical director while working on the company's first engine, due in large part of the fact that Enzo was unable to match his pay. The latter refused to leave his position at Alfa Romeo. He nonetheless consented to create the V12 in secret during his leisure time and gave Ferrari the go-ahead to employ the skilled Busso to direct its creation. Number 4. Porsche M97 or 74. This Porsche Flat 6, the final in a long line of race-derived model known as Mezgers, is very unique. When Porsche opted to expand the 3.8-liter Flat 6 to 4.0 liters to create the M97 or 74, we had previously been treated to a powerful 3.8-liter Flat 6 in the 997 GT3 RS. The rise in the displacement was caused by an increase in stroke, and the crankshaft was taken from the Porsche GT3R and 911 RSR race cars. The 4.0 liters maximum power of 493 bhp is reached at 8050 rpm, while its maximum torque of 339 lb-ft is reached at 5750 rpm. The 3.4L M96 engine that powered the 911 Carrera during the 996 generation gave way to the M97 engine 9904. During the short life of 987, Cayman S Porsche changed the engine by installing a Vario Cam Plus and changing the IMS bearing to a bigger single row 06 to 08. The 3.4L engine's 295 horsepower was more than enough to propel the Cayman S from 0 to 60 miles per hour in 4.8 seconds and through the quarter mile in 13.3 seconds at 106.2 miles per hour. Many 987.1 owners take pleasure in racing their Cayman or Boxster. Due to the tremendous G-forces experienced on the track, oil scavenging and aeration are common occurrences. We advise upgrading to an X51 style Bayfield oil pan if you intend to track your Cayman Boxster aggressively or frequently. To help keep oil temperatures on the track down, VFD Bombbasher provides a cost-effective alternative that also increases a small amount of oil capacity. Number 3, BMW S54 B32. We would probably spark a roid if we didn't have the M Division greatest 6 pod here given how much people love the S54. But that's okay because it richly merits a position. Its numerous accomplishments including producing over 100 horsepower per liter despite being a naturally aspirated engine, winning an absurd number of honors and powering the re-owned E46 M3, and a few Weissmans and M Division spec Z4s. The BMW S54 B32 engine, in contrast to the S52, which was placed on the BMW M3 at the rear of E46, including the Z3M and Z4M Roadsters coupes, is a more powerful and high reviving version of the engine. In the category from 3.0 to 4.0 liters, the BMW S54 B32 engine won the International Powertrain competition in 2001, and it continued to hold this title every year up until 2006. He also made it onto the WAD's 10 Best Engine list in 2001 and remained 3 until 2004. The normal M54's significant oil consumption is not present in the S variant. If such an issue does arise, the faulty valve stem, seals or rings are to blame. Sometimes there is also overheating. Airlocks in the cooling system are to blame for this. Additionally, the radiator itself may be contaminated, its lid may be broken, or there may be issues with the thermostat or pump. Number 2. Jaguar AJ126. The Jaguar deserves credit for continuing the use supercharges with its V6 and V8 engines when the majority of its competitors have switched to turbocharging. This is the reason for the AJ126 V6, which was created from the previous AJ V8 Jaguar, has been utilized since 2000. The F-Type S, which generates 375 horsepower and make a bloody excellent noise owing to some exhaust trickery, is tuned to its most potent level. The AJ126 is a 3.0-liter V6 engine produced by Jaguar Land Rover JLR, which took the position of the Ford Duratic V6 AJ after it was completely phased out of the usage. The Jaguar AJ133 V8 serves as a foundation for the AJ126. Due to the housing and cylinder heads of both engines' outward similarities, DH, given that the equipment and procedures only need to be slightly altered. Both the V6 and V8 are produced on a manufacturing line. There is no connection to engines made by the Ford company. The AJ126 in the JLR group replaces the AJ V6 with a 60-degree cylinder angle that was previously in use. The AJ126 has a 2,995cc displacement and 84.5 mm bore and a 89 mm stroke. The cylinder has a 90-degree angle. 10.5:1 is the compression ratio. All AJ126 models are supercharged. But although they vary in many ways, particularly in terms of performance, the AJ126 90-degree architecture provides for additional space between the cylinder heads for the supercharger and intercooler, despite the fact that a 60-degree bank angle is often chosen for V6 to reduce noise and vibration. JLR equipped a split-pin crankshaft to prevent atypical firing intervals, as opposed to the original Buick V6 90-degree then 150-degree syncopation. This separates adjacent connecting rods so that a cylinder fires every 120 degrees of crankshaft rotation. Number 1. Ford Barra Inline 6. If you do not reside in Australia, you probably read this heading and wondered, the what? Right away. However, bear with us. The 6-part engine we are working on, known as Barra, is part of a series of a straight 6 and V8 engines that Ford Australia has been producing for the Australian market since 2002. The very last Ford Performance Vehicles model, the FPV F6, is powered by a 420 horsepower 4.0-liter Barra 6. This engine, which bears the name of an opportunistic predatory fish called the barramundi Asian sea bass, was the result of more than 40 years of straight 6 development by the Australian branch of Blue Oval. It had 4 valves per cylinder, 2 overhead cams, a big aluminium alloy head, and variable cam timing, but it was not specially inventive. Additionally, the 4.0-liter unit was large and heavy, especially for a motor in the 21st century, due to the head's attachment of an antiquated cast iron block. The performance numbers of the entry-level variations were nothing to get excited about because it was designed with bomb-proof reliability and adequate fuel efficiency in the mind. The Beara was introduced in 2002 alongside the BA series Falcon and offered as a 244 HP traditional gas-fed unit or a 209 HP fuel-efficient model known as E-gas that only utilized liquefied petroleum gas LPG.